Alrighty guys, so today we're going to talk about three different types of functions. Our first section is about even functions. So what is an even function? Let's discuss this. So an even function is when you have your function f of x, you know it's an even function if you plug in the opposite of whatever x is, and you still get the same f, the same answer. So what does that mean? Let's discuss. So let's say you have this graph. How do you know this is an even function? Well, look at this point. Let's say this is point 2, right? If you go to point 2 and you go up, you're going to get to this point. Well, let's just make a guess. Let's say it's 5 or something, whatever, just for the sake of the problem. Now, if you plug in the opposite of 2, what's the opposite, guys? The opposite of 2 is a negative 2. If you plug in a negative 2, guys, you're supposed to get the same y. You get the same number for the y. So notice how they both are on the same 5. So because you get the same answer, whether the x is positive or negative, you know it's an even function. All right. Another way to know something is even is if you have this graph, if you're able to cut it in half through the y line, and you get the same thing, you get the same thing on both sides, as in it's split exactly in half, that's how you know it's an even function. When you split something in half, you talked about this in elementary, but it's called symmetrical. Symmetry. So it's basically when you have a shape and you're able to cut it, you're able to cut it in half and you get the same on both sides. Let's do another example. Look at this one. So once again, that's your x, that's your y. If I were to pick a point, let's pick this point right here. Pick a point 4. And if we go up to this point, we get to 6, let's say. Well, if I go to the opposite of 4, like that was 4, let's go to the opposite of 4 will be negative 4. I am supposed to get the same y value. You see? Let's say I go to 1, look at this. Or let's go to negative 1. I get this point. If I go to the opposite of negative 1, which is positive 1, I'm supposed to get more or less the same point. My graph doesn't look that perfect, but you'll get the hint. You get the same point. And one more, just to play it safe. Again, if whatever point you get, you're supposed to get the same y for its opposite x, you see? No matter where you go, if that's a positive 10, you need to get the exact y for whatever this is. So that's how you know a function is even.